One, two, three. Hello, welcome to my stream. My name is Stoic Soul, and for now, we'll be reading Chapter 5 for Understanding Business, our Introduction to Business. Currently, my frames are a bit low. Go disconnect my other device from the internet. Alright, connection's still kind of low, but it's all good. It is okay. Started. Alright. So for now, I am over here. Go back one page. Okay, I read that. It's not hard to form a partnership, but it's wise for each prospective partner to get the counsel of a lawyer. Experience with such agreements. Alright, lawyers' services are usually expensive, so would-be partners should read all about partnerships and read some basic agreements before calling a lawyer. For your protection, be sure to put your partnership agreements in writing. The Model Business Corporation Act recommends including the following in a written partnership agreement. Name of the business. Alright. Alright. For protection, be sure to put your partnership agreement in writing. The Model Business Corporation Act recommends including the following in written partnership agreement for county officials if the firm's name is different from the name of any of the partners. The names and addresses of all partners. The purpose and nature of the business. The location of the principal offices and any other locations where business will be conducted. The date the part 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. The contribution made by each partner well, some partners contribute money while others provide real estate, personal property, expertise, or labor. When are the contributions due? The management responsibilities. Will all partners have equal voices in management censor? Provision of sharing of profits or losses. Provision of sharing of profits or losses. Provision for accounting procedures. Come on, man. Procedures. All right. Who'll keep the accounts? What? Bookkeeping and accounting. Special restriction rights or duties. Provision for a retiring partner. Provision for a deceased or retiring partners of the business. Is numbering. Kind of important stuff for me to log down and go back to it. All right, 16 of them, right? 16, that is correct. All right, I could make some space up here. All right, perfect. All right then. The best way to learn about the advantages and disadvantages of partnerships is to interview several people who have experience with them. They will give you insight of owning your own business or having a partner is the fear of losing everything you own if someone sues the business or it loses a lot of money. Many business people try to avoid this and the other disadvantages of sole proprietorship and partnerships by forming corporations. We discuss this basic form of business ownership in the following section: corporation. Corporations. Many corporations like General Electric, GE, Microsoft, and Walmart are big and contribute substantially to the US economy. However, it's not necessary to be big to incorporate. Incorporating may be beneficial for small businesses as well. A conventional corporation is a state chartered legal entity with authority to act and have liability separate from its owners. Its stockholders. Stockholders are not liable for the debts or other problems of the corporation beyond the money they invest in it by buying ownership shares or stocks in the company. All right. Not liable for debts or all right. It's a state. I still don't know where the bracket is. Oh, there it is. So upwards. It's like an arc plus shift. Oh, that's not even it. Not even an arc. Arc up, then to the right. All right. Is a state. Where is it? State chartered. Arc up, then to the right. Arc one up, then to the right up. State centered. Chartered. It's a state chartered legal entity with authority to act and have liability separate from its owners. Stockholders are not liable for the debts or other problems of the corporation beyond the money they invest in it By buying ownership, can't see it, shares or stocks in the company, they don't have to worry about losing their house, car, or other property because of some business problem. A significant benefit. A corporation not only conventional C corporation. All right, I memorized it without looking. A corporation not only limits the liability of owners, but many often enables many people to share in the ownership and profits of a business without working there, or having other commitments to it. Oh, I like that. All right. Corporations may choose whether to offer ownership to outside investors or remain privately held. We discussed stock ownership in Chapter 19. Figure 5.3 on page 124 describes various types of corporations. Advantages of corporations. Most people are not willing to risk everything to go. Most people are not willing to risk everything to go into business, prosper, and create economic opportunity. Many people have to be willing to invest money in it. One way to solve this problem is to create an artificial being, an entity that exists only in the eyes of the law. A corporation. Let's explore some of the advantage of corporations. Limited liability. A major advantage of corporations is the limited liability of their owners. Remember, limited liability means that the owner of the business are responsible for its losses only up to the amount they invest in it. Ability to raise more money for investment. To raise money, a corporation can sell shares of its stock to anyone who is interested. This means that millions of people can own part of major companies like IBM, Apple, and Coca Cola, and smaller corporations as well. If a company sells 10 million shares of stock for $50 a share, it will have 500 million available to build plants, buy materials, hire people, so on. So a large amount of money would be difficult to raise any other way. Corporations can also borrow money by obtaining loans from financial institutions like banks. They can also borrow from individual investors by issuing bonds, which involves paying investors interest until the bonds are repaid sometimes in the future. You can read about how corporations raise funds through the sale of stocks and bonds in Chapter 19. You may find some confusing types of corporations when reading about them. Here are a few of the more widely used terms. An alien corporation does business in the United States but is chartered, incorporated in another country. Domestic corporation does business in the state in which it's chartered, incorporated. Foreign corporation does business in one state but is chartered in another. About one third of all corporations are chartered. In Delaware, because of its relatively attractive rules for incorporation, a foreign corporation must register in states where it operates. You find chartered. Of a company, college, city, or other body, founded or having its rights and privilege established by means of a charter. Grant a character to. Reserve for private use. Closed private corporations is one whose stock is held by a few people and isn't available to generic public. Open public corporation sells stock to the general public. General Motors and ExxonMobil are examples of public corporations. A quasi-public corporation is a corporation chartered by the government. As an approved monopoly to perform services to the general public. Public utilities are examples of quasi-public corporations. So to understand this, it is a business. It's a business in the United States for alien corporation, but is reserved to use by another country. So it's another country that has a corporation within the United States that does business in the United States. Domestic corporation does business in the United States in which it is reserved or owned within the state. Yeah. Foreign corporation, right? It's the same thing as alien corporation, except that the reserver is still within the United States, but it's from one state to a different state, but within the United States, not a different country. A professional corporation is one whose owners offer professional services, doctors, lawyers, etc. Shares in professional corporation. Come on, man. All right. A non-profit for non-for-profit corporation is one that doesn't seek personal profit for its owners. A multinational corporation is a firm that operates in several countries. Corporation is one that doesn't seek personal profit for its owners. Hold on. All right, sorry, I had to put someone in their place for a moment. A non-profit or not-for-profit corporation is one that doesn't seek personal profit for its owners. Okay, so it doesn't get personal profit for its owners, but it can potentially get profit. A multinational corporation is a firm that operates in several countries. Size. Size summarizes many of the advantages. Size summarizes many of the advantages of some corporations because they can raise large amounts of money to work with big corporations. Big corporations can build modern facilities or software development facilities with the latest equipment. They can hire experts or specialists in all areas of operation. They can buy other corporations in different fields and diverse to diversity. Their business risks. In short, a large corporations with numerous responses can take advantage of opportunities anywhere in the world. But corporations do not have to be large to enjoy. But corporations do not have to be large to enjoy. The benefit of incorporating, but corporations do not have to be large to enjoy. The benefits of incorporating. Many doctors, lawyers, and individuals, as well as partners in a variety of business. Many doctors, lawyers, and individuals, as well as partners in a variety of business, have incorporated. The vast majority of corporations in the United States are small business. Perpetual life because corporations are separate from those who own them. The death of one or more owners does not terminate the corporation, does not terminate. Ease of ownership change. It is easy to change the owners of a corporation. Ease of ownership change. It is easy to change the owner of a corporation. All that is necessary is to sell the stock to someone else. Ease of attracting talented employee. Ease of attracting talented employee. Corporations can attract skilled employees by offering such benefits as stock options, the right to purchase shares of the corporation for a fixed price, separation of ownership from management. 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 Corporations are often to raise money from many different owners, stockholders, without getting them involved in management. The corporate the corporate hierarchy in figure 5.4 shows how The owners, stockholders are separate from the managers and employees. The owners, stockholders, elect a board of directors who hire the officers of the corporation and oversee major policy issues. The owner's stockholder thus have some say in who runs the corporation, but have no real control over the daily operations. Owners, stockholders elect board of directors. Board of directors hire officers. Officers set corporate objectives and select managers. Managers supervise employees. Employees. I see. So then, to get rid of the CEO, you got to go to the board of directors or the officers. Yeah, the board of directors. And to get rid of the board of directors, you go to the stockholders. So you complain straight to the stockholders. Since the board of directors, CEO will be friends with the managers. Disadvantages of corporations. There are so many sole proprietorships and partnerships in the United States. Disadvantages of corporations. There are so many sole proprietorships and partnerships in the United States. I'm sick and tired of that. All right, sorry. Disadvantages of corporations. There are so many sole proprietorships and partnerships in the United States that there must be some disadvantages in incorporating. Otherwise, everyone would do it. The following are a few of the disadvantages. Initial cost. Incorporation may cost thousands of dollars and require expensive lawyers and accountants. There are less expensive ways of incorporating in certain states. See the following subsection. But many people do not have the time or confidence to go through this procedure without the help of potential expensive lawyers. Extensive paperwork. The paperwork needed to start a corporation is just the beginning. A sole proprietor or partnership may keep rather broad accounting records. A corporation, in contrast, must keep detailed financial records, the minutes of meetings, and more. As noted in Figure 5.3, many firms incorporate in Delaware or Nevada because these states' business oriented laws make the process easier than it is in other states. Double taxation. Corporate income is taxed twice. First, the corporation pays tax on its income before it can distribute any as dividends to the stockholders. Then the stockholders pay income tax on the dividends they receive. States often tax corporations more heavily than other enterprises, and some special taxes apply only to corporations. Two tax returns. An individual who incorporates must file both a corporate tax return, sorry, and individual tax Two tax returns. An individual who incorporates must file both a corporate tax return and an individual tax return, depending on the size of the corporation. A corporate return can be complex and require assistance of a certified public accountant. Size. Size may be one advantage of corporations, but it can be disadvantage as well. Large corporations sometimes become too inflexible and tied down in red tape to respond quickly to market changes, and their profitability can suffer. Difficulty of termination. Once a corporation has started, it's relatively hard to end. Kind of mad, bro. Difficulty of termination. Once a corporation has started, it's relatively hard to end. Possible conflict with stockholders and boards of directors. Got to push forward, man. Got to push forward. Can't allow anything to get in the way. All right. Possible conflict with stockholders and board of directors. Possible conflict with stockholders and board of directors. Conflicts may brew if the stockholders elect a board of directors who disagree with management. Since the board of directors choose the company's officers, entrepreneurs serving as managers can find themselves forced out of the very company they founded. This happened to Tom Freston, one of the founders of MTV, and Steve Jobs, a founder of the Apple computer. Many business people are discouraged by the cost, paperwork, and special taxes corporation must pay. However, many others believe the advantage of incorporation outweighs the hassles. Individuals can incorporate. Not all corporations are large organizations with hundreds of employees and thousands of stockholders. Truckers, doctors, lawyers, plumbers, athletes, and small business owners of all kinds can also incorporate. Normally, individuals who incorporate do not issue stocks to outsiders. Therefore, they do not share all the advantages and disadvantages of large corporations, such as size and more money for investment. Their major advantages are limited liability and possible tax benefits. Although you are not required to file for incorporation through a lawyer, it is usually wise to consult one. In addition to lawyers' fees, the Secretary of State office charges a fee for incorporating a business, varying by state from a low of $50 in Colorado, Iowa, Kentucky, Mississippi, and Oklahoma to a high of $300 in Texas. Like the fee, the length of time it will take to actually have your business incorporated will vary by state. The average time is approximately 30 days from the date of application. The process of forming a corporation varies somewhat from state to state. The articles of incorporation are usually filled with the Secretary of State's office in the state in which the company incorporates. The articles contain the corporation's name, the names of the people who incorporated it, its purpose, its duration, the corporation's name. All right. The corporation's name, the names of the people who incorporated it, its purpose, the duration, usually perpetual, the number of shares that can be issued, their voting rights, and any other rights the shareholders have, the corporation's minimum capital, the address of the corporation's office, the name and address of the persons responsible for the corporation's legal service, The names and the addresses of the first directors, any other public information the incorporators wish to include. Before a business can so much as open a bank account or hire employees, it needs a federal tax identification number. To apply for one, get an SS4 form from the IRS. In addition to the articles of incorporation listed, a corporation has bylaws. These describe how the firm is to be operated from both legal and managerial point of view. The bylaws include how, when, and where shareholders and directors meetings are held, and how long directors are to serve. Directors' authority, duties and responsibilities, officers, and the length of their service. How stocks is issued, other matters including employment contracts. S corporation. An S corporation is a unique government creation that looks like a corporation but is taxed like sole proprietorships and partnerships. The name comes from the fact that the rules governing them are subchapter S of chapter 1 of the Internal Revenue Code. The paperwork and detail of S corporations are similar to those of conventional C corporations. As corporations have shareholders, directors, and employees, and the benefit of limited liability, but their profit are taxed only as the personal income of the shareholders, thus avoiding the double taxations of C corporation. Avoiding double taxation is a reason enough for approximately 3 million US companies to operate as S corporations. Is that a government though? Unique government creation that looks like corporation but is tax off. No, the government created that, right? It does not be government owned. Avoiding double taxation is reason enough for approximately 3 million US companies to operate as S corporations. Yet not all businesses can become S corporations. In order to qualify, a company must have no more than 100 shareholders. All members of a family count as one shareholders. Have shareholders that are individuals or estates and who are citizens or permanent residents of the United States. Have only one class of stock. Derive no more than 25% of income from passive sources, rent, royalties. I'm out of that. Haha, I'm good. An S corporation that loses its S status may not operate under it again for at least 5 years. The tax structure of S corporation isn't attractive to all businesses. For one thing, the benefit changes every time the tax rule changes. The best way to learn all the benefits or shortcomings for a specific business is to go over the tax advantages and liabilities differences with a lawyer and accountant or both. All right, man. How much further? One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 11, 12, 12 more pages. All right. An S corporation that loses its S status may not wait. Hold on. Limited liability. A limited liability company LLC is similar to an S corporation but without the special eligibility requirements. LLCs were introduced in Wyoming in 1977 and were recognized by the Internal Revenue Service as a partnership for federal income tax purposes in 1988. By 1996, all 50 states and the District of Columbia recognizes LLC. The number of LLC has risen dramatically since 1988, when there were fewer than 100 filings to operate them. Today, more than half of a few business registrations in some states are LLC. The nearby legal briefcase box features a new type of LLC, a virtual company. Why the drive toward forming LLCs? Advantages include liability, limited liability. Why drive towards a forming LLC? Advantages include limited liability. Personal assets are protected. Limited liability was previously available only to the limited partners and shareholders of the C corporation. Choice of taxation. LLCs can choose to be taxed as a partnership or as a corporationship. Partnership level taxation was previously a benefit normally reserved for the partners or S corporation. Flexible ownership rule. LLCs do not have to comply with ownership restrictions or S corporations do. Owners can be a person, partnership, or corporation. Flexible distribution of profit and losses. Profits and losses don't have to be distributed in proportion to the money each person invests as in corporations. LLC members agree on the percentage to the distributed to each member. LLC members agree on the percentages to be distributed to each member. LLCs do not have to submit articles of organization, which are similar to articles of incorporation, but they are not required to keep minutes, file written resolutions, or hold annual meetings. An LLC also submits a written operating agreement similar to a partnership agreement describing how the company is to be operated. Of course, LLC have their disadvantages as well. These include no stock. LLC ownership is a non-transferable LLC. No stock. LLC ownership is non-transferable. LLC members need the approval of other members in order to sell their interests in the company. In contrast, regular and S corporation stockholders can sell their shares as they wish. Limited lifespan. LLCs are required to identify dissolution dates in the articles of organization, no more than 30 years in some states. The death of a member can cause LLCs to dissolve automatically. Members may choose to reconstitute the LLC after it dissolves. Fewer incentives. Unlike the corporation, LLCs can't deduct the cost of fringe benefits for members owning 2% or more of the company, and since there's no stock, they can't use stock options as incentives to employees. Taxes. LLC members must be self employment taxes. The Medicare Social Security taxes paid by sole proprietors and partnerships on their profits. In contrast, S corporations pay self employment tax on owners' salaries but not on the entire profits. Paperwork. While the paperwork required of LLC is not as great as that required of corporations, it is more than required of sole proprietorships. The startup cost for an LLC varies. Online legal services such as LegalZoom can file the necessary paperwork for as little as $150. All right, man. What is this? Section 4, 4, 5, 6, 3. That's an hour and 30 minutes. I'm gonna call it a night though. All right, that is the end for the stream for tonight. I just had to study for a bit. After that, I have one more chapter to read. It should be about 4 hours, 3 hours, 3 hours and a half, almost 4.